Hey everybody, welcome. I hope you're doing well tonight. Feeling a bit under the weather tonight, but we will make it through as always. I hope everybody, especially all our friends on the East Coast, are staying safe, staying inside, staying warm. Apparently, they had another snowmageddon on the East Coast or Northeast Coast again. I know Miss Paula's out that way, Dave is out that way. So just hope everybody is staying safe, staying in, staying warm. Welcome. As I said, if you're new here, welcome. Thank you for choosing to spend some time with us tonight. This is our weekly missing person Monday video. We do this every week. We feature missing persons, usually mostly cold cases. For anybody who, like I said, is new here, who may be checking us out for the first time, I feature a lot of cold cases on the channel. We do missing persons cold cases. We do unsolved homicides, unidentified Jane Does, John Does. We'll cover some true crime in the news, current true crime every once in a while. But like I said, this is one of our main features here on the channel. So we will get started. Let's see here. Chris is here. Good to see you. Mustang is here. Good to see you, my friend. Chris would say, if it'll come up, can we talk about a good story about cases first? Absolutely. If you got one in, got one in mind. Chris says, let's talk about the one that was missing for a while and just turned up safe and sound. Yeah. Do you remember the name on that one? I know, what was it? The one from North Carolina or South Carolina? I know Dave, Al on the Prowl, talked a little bit about it on his live stream this past weekend. But if you remind me of the name, yeah, we can talk about that. Absolutely. Hey, Junior Johnson, good to see you, my friend. I'm glad you are here, as always. There's Miss Paula. Oh, where'd she go? There she is. There's Miss Paula. Are you doing okay, Miss Paula, with all the, did y'all get snow your way? I'm pretty sure you probably did. Probably did. Thank you. Mustang is getting links in. I appreciate that very much. And tonight, we're going to be featuring cases. I think I have 6 of them from Honolulu, Hawaii. So, and unfortunately, as in a lot of these cold cases, there wasn't a whole lot of information that I could find on them, aside from the basic information that comes from the Charley Project. But I was able to find an article or two for a few of them. So, hey, Josh, good to see you, my friend. How are you doing this evening? I hope you're doing well in your part of Texas. It got cold. We had another cold snap here in Arkansas last night. It got cold. Today was cold. It's supposed to get down or be cold tonight, down in the 30s maybe here. And I'm in central Arkansas. I know Mustang is up in northwest Arkansas. And then it's supposed to warm up again back into the 60s and 70s. So I'm ready. I'm so tired of winter. I have been over winter before it even began, it seemed. Let me see if I can find that case right quick that and please do check out Josh's channel where lavender grows. Fantastic channel. I know he's just getting it off the ground. He took some time off because he was busy, but he is back now, and he does a fantastic job. Hey, Take Death Hippie, welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Haven't seen you in a while. He says winter sucks so bad in Ohio. I know. I think winter sucks in my opinion, winter sucks everywhere. I mean, I like a little bit of snow, once in a blue moon, but I mean, a few weeks ago, Arkansas had, for Arkansas, we had a pretty bad. I mean, we got about 6 or 7 inches, and I mean that down south here, that's a lot. And it didn't get above freezing for a week, so I mean the roads, and then we got a sleet on top of snow, and then more sleet and more snow, and then it took like a week for everything to melt off. So everything was at a basic standstill for a week, and that's when I really was like, I am done. I'm done. I'm tired of it. Oh my goodness. Take Death Hippie says it was like -5 for 2 weeks as the low. I can't deal anymore. Sir, I don't blame you. I do not blame you. That is, I do not live in the north. Oh my goodness. Thank you very much. There is the link to Josh's channel. Please do check it out. Please do check out Take Death Hippie as well. He's a music guy. Guitar player, among other things. I think he gives lessons and things of that nature. I always like to go over there and see what's going on with him. So please do check him out. Mustang or whoever can definitely put the link in. Absolutely. Junior says that it is 23 degrees in Adrian, Michigan, but feels like 16 with a wind chill. Ugh. Y'all can keep that mess up there, sir. We don't want it down here. Oh, goodness. You are... Oh, my fingers are not wanting to work tonight. You are very welcome, sir. All right, let me see. Chris, did you ever get the name on that? I can't remember the name. Hold on. Let me... it was in one of the Carolinas. I want to say North Carolina, but I'm not sure. Let me do a quick search, see if I can find. If I can spell. Let's see. Let's see. All right, I found her. Okay, Michelle Smith, Michelle Hundley Smith. Let me see which article I want to use. Probably whichever one will come up first. So we'll talk about that for a minute. Because Chris requested that we talk about something positive before we got into our cases that we're going to look at. And let me screen share it. Hold on. I'll get rid of some of these tabs that I've got going here. 1 second. So everything started moving as usual. As soon as I start the live stream, everything starts moving slowly. Come on. It may take it a second. It's coming. Oh, now it's making me sign in. Nope. Just let me read the article. Dang it. Is it sharing? Hold on. Like I said, as soon as I start, my farm signal poops out as soon as I start trying to do something. Let me try it again. Stop sharing. If I push the right button, yeah, Mustang says it's a conspiracy. It is, I'm telling you. Oh, goodness. Everything was running fine. Might just have to read the article. I don't know if it's going to share or not. And I have 3 or 4 bars on my phone, which is excellent on my phone. Oh, there it comes. Finally, there we go. Okay. So this is from usatoday.com. A mother went missing in 2001 and she was just found alive and well. Like I said, and this is Michelle Hundley Smith. Like I said earlier, Dave did talk about, did a video or showed a video, a news clip about this. But yeah, that's just, because when we talk about these missing persons cases, some people do just leave of their own accord for whatever reason. They just want to, if they're, 25 years, Josh. Yep, 25 years. Some people do just want to, either they're running from a dangerous situation or a situation they need or have to get out of for their safety. Sometimes they just want to start a new life. But I believe she was married. She had a daughter, I believe. And yeah, it turned out she's alive and well. She just left of her own accord. She's not given, she doesn't want anybody to know where she's at, just that she's somewhere in either North Carolina, South Carolina. And that they're, the family, the daughter is not, I don't think has released any statements. But yeah, so anyway, we'll get to this article. So once again, the mother went missing in 2001. Like Josh said, 25 years, almost 25 years now. Just found alive and well. So where was Michelle Hundley Smith located after 24 years? How long did it take to locate Michelle Hundley Smith? Why? Where do they ask these questions? Oh, hold on. Okay, so No, I do not want the AI version. What are you doing? Anyway, oh, my cursor. Hold on, guys. So a North Carolina mother who went Christmas shopping 24 years ago and disappeared or was found alive, but said that she does not want to be contacted by family, according to area authorities. So this kind of tells me that maybe there was some kind of situation. It doesn't say exactly what family. She doesn't, none of her family, she wants to contact her. So that kind of led me to believe there might have been some kind of family situation going on that she either wanted or needed to get away from. So the woman, Michelle Hundley Smith, has been found alive and well in an undisclosed part of North Carolina. according to investigators with the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office in a news release on February 20th. So, so part of the news release said, quote, at her request, her current whereabouts will remain undisclosed. Her family has been notified that she has been located and informed of this request as well, end quote. And I believe that the news clip that Dave showed on his live stream, I think it was an interview with maybe her aunt or her cousin, just so sad. I mean, I'm glad that she is alive and well, but I mean, the cousin just couldn't, she was, emotional, obviously, and crying, and just, she was also stated that she was, glad, obviously, that Michelle was alive and well, but she just didn't understand, why she left and why she didn't want to have contact with the family, and just, expressed the hope that sometime in the future that they could talk and kind of maybe get a little bit of find out why Michelle left. So Michelle was 38 years old when she left her Greensboro area home on December 9th, 2001 to go Christmas shopping at a nearby Kmart, according to the sheriff's office, and then she was reported missing 22 days later. So I don't know why it took 22 days for her to be reported missing, but at any rate. So here's how the investigation unfolded. Once again, things are moving slow. So detectives received new information on the case 24 years after the disappearance. So Michelle's family last saw her when she left her home in Eden, North Carolina, which is about 36 miles north of Greensboro. She left around 8:30 p.m. to go shopping about 17 miles away in Martinsville, Virginia. She was driving a green 1995 Pontiac Transport van, according to her family. Get past all the ads. Once she was reported missing on December 31st of 2001, authorities launched an investigation that later included the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, the DEA, and the FBI. So the van was never found. Her family said according to her family Facebook page, which had been dedicated to the search for Michelle, the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office worked on the case for more than 2 decades to no avail. The office posted online asking for information about her case in both 2020 and 2021 and announced a cash reward for information. So on February 19th, the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigation Division received new information regarding her whereabouts, though they didn't immediately confirm the source or additional details. Detectives did follow up on the lead, and they did speak to Michelle the following day. Michelle is now in her 60s, so she was 38 or so when she went missing. So USA Today has contacted the sheriff's office for further information on the tip that led investigators to Michelle. In 2018, her daughter penned a plea for her mother to come forward. So her daughter Amanda said, quote, "Mama, this is Amanda. If you see this, please know that I'm not mad at you, and I just want to know that you are safe. In fact, to be honest, I would rather find out that you had just left and that you are still alive," end quote. And like I said, that's how it turned out to be. She is alive. She is well. Just don't know the reason why she left in the first place. So she shared that she knows how hard life can be, but she couldn't see her mother leaving and never contacting her family. Her daughter said that she was battling cancer and didn't know how much time she had left to live. So that the daughter has cancer. So I guess her daughter is battling cancer and didn't know how much time she had left to live. So Amanda Hunley also shared a poster her own daughter made, a hopeful message that her grandmother would be found. And the 10-year-old girl wrote, "We can help find her." So after her mother was found, her daughter took to social media on February 22nd. She thanked the public for the support that she had received. Excuse me. Since her disappearance in 2001, Michelle's family has created a Facebook page called Bring Michelle Hundley Smith Home to keep her case alive. In her February 22nd post on the page, Michelle's daughter said, while her mother needs to be held accountable, a part of her understands how she could leave the way she did. So according to the post, her daughter, according to her post, is also a runner. So apparently, what she means by runner is that, some people you just run away from their problems. They don't stay and face it or whatever. So I'm assuming that's what she means by run. You just you run from your problems. So when her mother was involved in her life, her daughter said that she showed her a sense of love and connection that she will never forget. The pair argued sometimes, but there were smiles and lots of happy moments, according to the daughter. So hearing that her mother is alive has left her feeling a number of emotions. Her daughter said, quote, "I'm ecstatic, I'm pissed, I'm heartbroken, I'm all over the map. Will I have a relationship once more with my mom? Honestly, I can't answer that because I don't even know," end quote. So it has to be so hard. I mean, and just imagine the family, especially our daughter, just wanting to know why did she leave? Why did she leave? So now that her mother has been found, Amanda Hundley wants to use the page dedicated to her case to help other families find missing loved ones. Her daughter wrote, quote, "I hope that this page can help families to reunite with loved ones, or at the very least gain insights and closure," end quote. So that's kind of it's a happy story in the sense that Michelle, after 24 years, 25 years, Michelle was found. I'm trying to get back down to see to her picture. Was found alive and well, but just oh my goodness, my computer is oh, there it is. But just, obviously her family has questions, why did she leave? Why did she leave? So, but that's between, she and the family. It's Michelle's decision. Everybody is adult or are adults now. So that will be Michelle's decision, whether or not she gets in contact with her family and explains why she left. It's kind of bittersweet. But anyway, let me get back over here into your comments and see who snuck in on me while I was reading. Hey, Patriotism, good to see you. Welcome. Always good to see you, my friend. Yeah, once again, 25 years. I don't know why I don't know if I have something on my touchpad that's, or if it's just my computer being, Josh says, I hope that that's the case for Maura Murray. Yep. Yeah, that's one of Dave's case. Dave Allen the Proud talks about that. He has done a lot of coverage on Maura's case. And if I know Dave is like we were talking about earlier, the snowmageddon that the Northeast was getting again. I don't know if Dave he's usually working. So if Dave, if you're out there driving, listening and driving, please be safe. Please be safe. Yep. Once again, 25 years. Oh, maybe might help things run faster. Maybe if I stop sharing that, maybe it'll come back up. Okay. Let's see. Junior says the family must not have looked very hard. You would have thought they would have checked with social security. Yeah, but didn't it say that she was reported missing? Wasn't reported missing until like 22 days later. I mean, and it didn't say how old the daughter. I'm assuming the daughter was probably pretty young when she went missing, or when Michelle went missing, or went missing. So why didn't her husband or any of her other family members? Why didn't they? I mean, and it didn't say. I don't think who reported her missing. Was it family members? Was it friends? Was it her place of work? Sometimes, if they don't show up for work, I don't know. There had to be. I mean, just from this little bit of information that we have from these articles, in my opinion, it just had to be some kind of family situation that was going on, that she just felt like she was either in danger and she had to leave, or she just didn't feel comfortable, or just didn't like the situation and just had to leave. Very, very, I don't know what word I'm looking for. Not interesting, just very bizarre. Very bizarre. Oop, whole lot of comments just popped up. Hey, Nicole, good to see you. Welcome in. Hey, Gibbo, welcome, sir. Good to have you here. It's good seeing everybody here tonight. Yes, absolutely. Mustang says, please do all the things. It does help the algorithm. All right. So I think I'm caught up. So we will get started now with our missing cases. Like I said, tonight we're going to be featuring missing in Honolulu. I think I have six cases, I think. Once again, on most of them, a lot of them, not a whole lot of information, but a little bit of information is better than no information. So we will go with what we got. Thank you so much, Mustang. Mustang sent $5. Thank you so much, ma'am. So we get to put a cow in the pasture. If I can find the cow, it might take me a minute. There she is. Thank you once again, Mustang. You are a sweetheart. Hey, Truth Teller, welcome. Good to see you. Yes, awesome. Mustang is awesome. All of you guys are awesome. All right, let me get my article up from the first case here, and we will get started. Oh my goodness. My computer is going crazy on me. All right, so first we have Michael. My cursor is not wanting to move. It keeps getting stuck. It is good to see you too, Truth Teller. Thank you. So first we have Michael Ballesteros, and this is one that I could not find a whole lot of information, just what was on the Charley Project. So Michael has been missing since March 4th, 1990 from Honolulu. He is classified endangered missing. He is an Asian male, 26 years old when he went missing, 5'7" tall, 140 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. He is of Filipino descent, and he has scars running from wrist to elbow, which was the result of a prior self-harm attempt, it says. So the last known clothing he was wearing was a blue long sleeve shirt, blue shorts, and Nike high top sneakers. Said that he does suffer from extreme mood swings and may be a danger to himself and others. He was taking mood stabilizing medication at the time of his disappearance. And it says that he is, I thought it said it says he is a dependent adult. So I don't, does that mean, I was making sure I read that right. It says he is a dependent adult. So does that mean he needs somebody to look after him? It says he is a dependent adult and may be violent. So the only information that we have is that Michael was last seen in Honolulu on March 4th, 1990. He was staying at a private care home, so that must mean, yeah, that he needed supervision. He was staying at a private care home on, and I'm going to try not to butcher these names and places tonight. So this private care home was on Maliu Street in Kalihi, in the Kalihi area. On the day of his disappearance, he left the care home at around 8 a.m. without telling his caretaker, and he has never been seen or heard from after that. Few details are available in his case. So that's what we got. But once again, it's better than nothing. We will take it. But if you do have any information, call the Honolulu PD at 808-529-3111. Let me just double check and make sure. Yeah, that was all that I had. So it sounds like, I mean, this one's just a whole bunch of comments popped up here. So he was what, 26, said that he was on mood stabilizers, he was dependent, he had to have a caretaker. My question is, how did I mean, it happens. My mom works at a nursing home, and even though they have, the doors are locked, there are codes that you have to use to get in and out. I'm assuming that was that way for this care home that he was at. But still, how did he get out and disappear? I mean, like I said, it happens. Even with older people in nursing homes, it happens. So, I mean, I don't know. Because I know at the nursing home that my mom works at, they do have like a little patio area. It does have a fence around it for so they can go outside and to either get some fresh air or to go out there. The residents can go out to get fresh air or to smoke or whatever. But I mean, the fence is like 10 feet high, so there's no way they could climb the fence. So I bet, I mean, a 26-year-old maybe could climb a fence depending on what kind of fence they had or get out the door. But I don't know. Makes me wonder. Let me see. There's Dave. Hey, Dave. He said, I made a live. He says, hello, all. Dave, if you're out there listening and driving, be careful. Be careful. But if y'all got that much snow, I mean, I don't know what Dave does. I just know he works at night and he's out driving a lot. So, but I'm assuming that there's lots and lots of snow on the roads up his way. We hope. Please do check out Dave out on the prowl. I'm sure Mustang or somebody has already thrown the link in. I had to be replay crew for this weekend on his live stream because I was fighting I don't know if I've had like a little cold or just the allergies are already coming on, but my sinuses, you can tell by my throat and my voice and my, sniffy. I'm trying not to sniff too much. But I fought a headache for about a week, and then Saturday night it just got so bad. I took a Tylenol and just went to bed really, really early. But I was replay crew for Dave's live stream because he goes on late Saturday night, early Sunday mornings. He always has excellent shows, excellent information. Dave is fantastic. Oh, he is out listening and driving. Dave said, we'll be listening and driving for as long as I can. Once again, Dave, be safe. Thank you. Yes, there is the link to Dave's channel. Yeah, we understand. Dave says, sorry, I can't say hi to everyone. Yep. We understand. He is driving. Yeah, Nicole said, Dave, be safe out there. Absolutely. Chris says, Honolulu has a case that interests me. Which one is it? What's the name of it? And I can look at it. Josh says, Ballesteros, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is a common surname in Hawaii. Kind of like a Smith or a Jones or something here in American names. Let me see here. Yes, he was in a care home. Hey, Miss Peggy, good to see you, ma'am. She says, kind of lurking on Messenger call with my baby sister. Good to have you here, Miss Peggy, as always. A serial case from Honolulu. Let me know some details and I'll look at it. Yeah, and I need to look into talking about serial cases because in a couple of these cases, I don't think it mentioned it in Michael's case, but it said that um, just at the end, as far as the Charley Project information, it just said their case, this case is linked to other missing persons cases in Honolulu that took place around the same time. I think it's maybe around the mid 80s or so, mid 80s to early 90s. So I don't know if they had like a string of missing persons cases that they thought might have been related, that might have been a serial type situation or not. But I'm gonna have to when I get time, look into it, or if anybody else has looked into it or heard about it, that might be what Chris is talking about. But yeah, in a couple of these, I was just like, interesting. Hey, Julie, good to see you, my dear. She says, good evening. I'm just hanging out and listening. We are glad that you are hanging out with us and listening. Well, Josh may know. Josh said to Chris, it might be the same case that I followed for years. You guys are going to have to let me know what it is. Let me see. Are you doing okay, Gibbo? Let's see. Somebody's talking about surgery and being in the hospital. Gibbo says, finally got referred for surgery, so lots of tests between now and then. Thanks for asking. Thoughts, prayers, and good vibes coming your way. I hope you are doing okay. Josh says, if it'll come up, there it is. There were quite a few knockoffs of supermarkets during the days that Michael went missing. Interesting. Yeah, Junior says my mom was in a nursing home and they had an older gentleman who tried getting out every day. Luckily, they had alarms on the doors. Yeah, see, that's the way it is at the nursing home that my mom works at. They have the code that you have to put to get in or out, and if the doors are open without the code being put in, the alarms do go off. Because mom says, so and so got out today or tried to get out today. So it's just, and it happens. I'm not blaming the care facilities or nursing homes where that happens. If somebody wants to get out bad enough, they're going to get out. Absolutely. Miss Paula says, love to all the mods. Absolutely. Thank you to everyone who has a wrench who helps me out. Miss Peggy says, my sister says hi. Tell your sister that we said hi back. Yeah, Mustang says, hello, Peggy's sister. Miss Peggy says her sister is in Wisconsin. Ooh, is it cold up there? Love you too, my friend. Dave says, love you, Southern Gal. We love you too, Dave. Love you too, sir. All right. Let's see who we have next. We have Stephen William Branston. So I should have already been loading the article. Once again, well, I think I was able to find one article. Hold on one second. Sorry, I had to blow my nose. I don't think y'all wanted to hear me do that. So anyway, we have Stephen William Branston. So Stephen has been missing since October 1st of 1996 from Honolulu. He is a white male. He was just 20 years old when he went missing. He will be 49 years old as of 2026. At the time he went missing, he was 6 feet tall, and 170 pounds with brown hair and blue eyes. Said that he may have a light brown curly beard. His hair was long at the time of his 1996 disappearance. And it says he normally wore it pulled back into a ponytail. He does smoke. So the last known clothing description, it says possibly a black and white or tie-dyed shirt, jeans or cut-off shorts, sandals, and a scarf-type headband. So that's why I put, there was just 2 pictures on the Charley Project. So that's why I put that, use the one with the headband. Because at first, when I first looked at it, I thought it was like a bandage where his head was bleeding. But I think it's just the colors after I read the description of, I guess it's just the colors. Maybe it's kind of a tie-dye. Because apparently he likes to wear tie-dye. So as far as medical conditions, it says that Stephen does suffer from schizophrenia. He was also severely depressed at the time of his disappearance. He may have had self-harm ideations. He was supposed to be taking an antipsychotic medication, but he quit taking it before he went missing. And we hear a lot also. We hear a lot also about, for people with any kind of mental health issues, you know, and not just with missing persons cases, but with people who are taking any kind of antidepressants or anxiety meds or anything, mental health issue type medications, that a lot of times they'll take it for a little while and then they'll quit taking it because they always say, you know, that they don't like the way it makes them feel. So that's kind of a running pattern that we see with a lot of these also. It says that he also does have a history of substance abuse. He is classified as disabled. Okay. So Michael was a resident of Lakeport, California in 1996. He told his sister that he imagined traveling to Hawaii and passing away during the summer of that year. So that's obviously concerning. So his family became concerned that he had these self-harm ideations. He had a normal childhood, but in his teens, he became troubled. It says that he was a poor student. That's when he started using the substances. He was eventually diagnosed with schizophrenia, and he began seeing a psychiatrist and taking medication for his condition. Stephen last saw his family on August 1st of 1996, just before his parents went to Wyoming for the summer. So then 4 days later, on August 5th, is when he arrived in Honolulu. He was apparently homeless and living near the Honolulu airport. He had opened a bank account and arranged to have his Social Security payments sent there. He had rented a storage locker at High Pack Self Storage. He used this to store his ID, his meds, clothing, his, you know, just personal belongings. Stephen deposited his Social Security checks for August and September in his Hawaiian bank account. A teller at the Bank of Hawaii in, I'm going to try not to butcher this, Kakaya, Hawaii, says that Stephen tried to cash a check there in October of 1996, but he was not allowed to because he didn't have any identification. So I don't know if that means he didn't have his ID with him, because it said that he used this locker at this self-storage to store his ID, medication, clothing. So his parents reported him missing with the Lakeport, California Police Department on October 5th. So High Pack Self Storage contacted Stephen's parents in November of 1996 after he stopped paying the fees for his locker. His parents did monitor his bank account for at least a year after his disappearance, but no one deposited or withdrew any funds, any money. There were possible sightings of him on the islands of Oahu, Molokai, and Kauai until June of 1997. None of those were confirmed. And then I'm assuming after June of 1997, there weren't any confirmed or any other confirmed or unconfirmed sightings. His case remains unsolved, and it says both Hawaii and California police are investigating. Excuse me. Once again, I apologize for the rough voice and the coughing. If you do have any information, you can contact the Lakeport, California PD at 707-263-2331 or the Honolulu PD at 808-529-3111 or 808-529-3394. And I believe I did have an article that I was able to find on Stephen. Well, of course, the site's got to perform a security verification on me here. Oh, Lordy. Oh, I'm verified. I'm successful. All right, so this is from Lake County News. And once again, as always, the links to all the online sources, information sources that I use are in the description box. So feel free to read them at your leisure or share them to help bring more awareness to these cases. And this article is from September of 2016. The search for Stephen Branston, the family hopes for new leads in long-running missing persons case. Get rid of the ads. The case, or an unsolved missing persons case, is getting new attention as police follow up on leads and use the latest technology to try to discover what happened to a young Lakeport man 20 years ago. The case of Stephen William Branston, who was 20 years old at the time he was last seen by family in the summer of 1996, recently has made its way back to the top of the Lakeport Police Department's caseload in the wake of two possible leads. And while neither lead turned out to be a match, both the police and the Branston's family are hoping that new media attention and the internet, now a hugely effective way of sharing information about such cases worldwide, will help renew interest and lead to new information that will help finally solve the case. So see, the internet and social media, when it is used correctly, can be a good thing. Good thing for sharing information, getting information out about these cases. So Branston's disappearance is the only outstanding missing persons case in the city of Lakeport's jurisdiction. Wow, that's fantastic. Of course, this is from 2016. That's according to Lakeport Police Chief Brad Rasmussen, who himself investigated Stephen's disappearance while working as a detective. He said his agency wants to do everything it can to find out what happened to Branston. In addition to Branston, there are 7 other open missing persons cases from Lake County listed by the California Department of Justice's Missing Persons Database. So the last time that Susan and Jim Branston of Lakeport saw their son was in the summer of 1996. In July of that year, they took a trip to Wyoming, and their son stayed at their home to care for it for them. Over the previous several years, the couple had watched their son begin to struggle with mental health issues. Susan Branston said that her son had at one point been good in school. She said he was artistic, he was just mellow and easygoing. The family had taken a memorable trip to Hawaii when he was 13. His mom said, quote, "He loved it over there. He liked the warm weather, the water, and the beach life," end quote. So as he moved into his teens, he began to be more difficult to handle, according to his mom. He had a hard time in school. His grades dropped. He began attending a continuation high school. So I don't know what continuation high school is. It says that he also began smoking cigarettes, using substances, primarily marijuana. When he was about 16, his grandmother gave him some money and he flew to Hawaii. Susan said that her son was under the impression that he could go to the tropical state and simply just live off the land, kind of go off grid, live off land, off the land. But the reality was starkly different. So he returned to California. His mother said that he had at one point OD'd on LSD, which addiction experts say can lead to hallucinations, psychosis, and depression. Excuse me. Stephen subsequently was diagnosed with mental health issues, including schizophrenia, a condition which his family was concerned may have been brought on by his use of the LSD. So his mother said that he began taking medication. He was overseen by a psychiatrist. By the summer of 1996, he had once again started thinking of returning to Hawaii. He had stopped taking this med that he had been prescribed for schizophrenia. And he didn't want his psychiatrist to know, apparently, that he was not taking his meds, as his parents later would find out. So Susan and Jim said they last talked to him around August 1st of 1996 as they were heading home from their vacation in Wyoming. And then they believe that he left for Hawaii 4 days later. So his mom said that, quote, he carefully planned his escape. So another concerning statement, but I mean, he had, and I think in the Charley Project information, it said that he had told his parents, or talked to his parents, and said that he had dreams or whatever of going to Hawaii and basically passing away in that year, 1996. So Susan said they had not wanted him to go, but if he did, they wanted to try to get him into group housing or arrange other help. However, he had other ideas. Susan said, quote, I guess he decided to take things into his own hands, end quote. At first, since he was an adult, the family decided to take a wait and see approach. But by October, the Branstons decided to report Stephen's disappearance to police. So Rasmussen, who I believe was the police chief or detective, said that Stephen's parents contacted the Lakeport Police Department on October 5th of 1996, reporting that they had not spoken to him since August. So the Lakeport Police Department immediately began its investigation, with officers entering Branston or Stephen into the California Department of Justice missing an unidentified person system. This is according to Rasmussen. He said his agency also transmitted its investigation report to the Honolulu PD, Criminal Investigation Division, Missing Persons Detail, which began an investigation in their city and county. Lakeport police would be in contact with then Detective Phil Camaro, who did work with the Branstons in the effort to find their son. Rasmussen said the initial police investigation confirmed that Stephen did arrive in Honolulu after traveling there by himself on August 5th, 1996. The last locations where authorities were able to confirm Branston had been or were at the Honolulu airport and at Honolulu's high-pack self-storage in August of 1996. On August 12th of 1996, Branston rented a locker at this high-pack self-storage where he left some personal property. He then opened a bank account that same day as he had transferred his Social Security payments to Hawaii. The bank account records at the time of the report showed that 2 Social Security income checks for the months of August and September 1996 had been deposited into the account, but no withdrawals had been made. So once again, the parents did monitor that bank account for at least a year and found that the checks continued to be deposited, easy for me to say, but no money was ever withdrawn while the account was active. So the family also monitored the storage locker, which Branston didn't make any more payments on after the initial rental. So while the August 1996 sightings of Branston in Honolulu were the last of him to be confirmed, Rasmussen said there were several reported but unconfirmed sightings of him in Hawaii beginning that same month and lasting through the following June. Once again, during that time, he was reportedly seen on the islands of Oahu, Molokai, Maui, and Kauai. Susan and her family would travel to Hawaii in the coming years, attempting to find their son and follow up themselves on these reported sightings of him. The summer after his disappearance, they spent about 2 months scouring the island, They visited homeless shelters and adult service agencies. They passed around flyers. According to his mom, she said they also were taken around and shown possible areas where he may have been seen. They were taken there by Detective Camaro, who had told them that in 90% of the cases, missing persons are found. So Rasmussen agreed with Camaro's estimate, noting that missing persons usually are found and found quickly. And that's usually the case. I'm sure it goes by city, state by state basis, the percentages, but for the most part, people are found and, fairly quickly. So with the family exhausting its resources, Susan Branston said that she had to return to Lake County to go back to work. She said, quote, "We were very upset and didn't know what to do," end quote. She said her family had considered trying to hire a private investigator, but they concluded that they just couldn't afford it. So they continued their own efforts. When friends would visit the islands, the family would send out more flyers to pass out about Stephen's disappearance. When his third grade teacher thought that she saw him in Kauai on one trip, the Branstons returned to the islands, paying special attention to Kauai, and again, looking everywhere and following every lead. They would get tips of possible sightings, and then they would chase down these tips, they said, from one location to another, but they just were never able to confirm any of these sightings. Susan, the mother, said, quote, "We don't know if anyone ever saw him. We don't have anything concrete," end quote. So one of the last leads they received during their visit to Kauai was from a woman who believed that she saw Stephen on Maui. Susan Branston said they didn't have enough time to get to Maui before they were scheduled to return home. Susan said, quote, "We were getting people seeing him everywhere, so it was very confusing." She also added that they were never sure whether to believe the reports of the sightings or not. And that's one thing that's kind of a double-edged sword, in my opinion. I mean, it's fantastic that people are on the, a lot of people are on the lookout for these missing persons, especially when, it mentioned that they just handed out flyers everywhere. But, that also leads to, people say, "Hey, I think I saw I thought I saw him here, I thought I saw him there." And, like I said, that's all well and good, but it's just, disappointing when it's just somebody that may favor him that they think, was, or, the missing person. So the article goes on to say such sightings in a missing persons case are common, according to Rasmussen, noting that police often will get numerous leads from people believing that they saw the person in question. Rasmussen said the county of Kauai Police Department also conducted an investigation regarding Stephen's disappearance in the 2000, but it turned up no leads. That same summer, when I'm having trouble saying his name, Rasmussen was a detective working Stephen's case, he contacted Camaro at the Honolulu PD at about the time the local police were working to submit Stephen's dental records to the California Department of Justice. So Susan believes that it is possible that her son could still be alive somewhere, but she added, quote, "We have no idea what happened to him," end quote. So her family would like to have him home, obviously, and have closure. That includes daughter Tammy Varnum, who is 5 years younger than her brother Stephen. She is now married. Her mom, Susan, their mom, says she loved her brother very much. She said, despite his mental health issues, her son was a very nice kid who was not violent. He would not have harmed anyone, but she is concerned that someone may have harmed him, and that could also, I mean, but let me know in chat what you guys think. But to me, I mean, I don't know. I don't have usually on these cases, when I read this information, I kind of get my idea of what I think could, possibilities that could have happened. I mean, it could have been self-harm, they mentioned that. It could have been an accidental. It could have been some kind of foul play. It did say that he lived in some homeless camps and some care facilities and some shelters. Or, best case scenario, he is out there somewhere, alive and well, and just, doesn't want to contact his family for whatever reason. Like the case that we read about, the Chris mentioned, the lady in North Carolina, or was it North Carolina? Went missing 24, almost 25 years ago, and she contacted police or whoever she contacted, 24 years later, and said, "Hey, I'm alive. I'm okay. I just don't want to have any contact with anybody." All right. So Rasmussen said that the Lakeport Police Department's investigators over the years have continued to work a Stevens case in an attempt to develop new leads. Then in July and August, once again, this is from 2016, new cases were brought to the Lakeport PD's attention that had raised the possibility that Stephen may have been found, according to Rasmussen. A Detective Dale Stobie, with the assistance of a California Department of Justice missing and unidentified person system analyst, conducted follow-up investigations on two cases involving unidentified deceased persons who were possible matches to Stephen's characteristics. At that point, Stobie also contacted Susan and Jim to let them know of the possible developments. According to Rasmussen, Rasmussen said the first case was from 2001 in Washington State, while the second was a 1998 case from Mississippi. So that's kind of a little all over the board there, but I mean, because they do know that he arrived in Hawaii on August 5th of 96. I mean, but that doesn't mean that he couldn't have flown back to the mainland here and ended up somehow in Washington State in 2001 or Mississippi in 1998. So the Washington case involved an unidentified male who passed away at a hotel in the Lake Quinault area of Grays Harbor County, according to the coroner's office. The man in question appeared to be in his 20s, close in height and build to Stephen, with similar coloring and other physical characteristics based on the case description. Rasmussen said a citizens group that investigates missing persons cases around the world sent details of that case to his department, thinking that it might be a match. However, Stephen's fingerprints that were on file showed that it was not the same. It wasn't a match. So the second case involved a man in his 20s who was seriously injured by a drunk driver in a hit and run accident in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, while hitchhiking along Interstate 59 in December of 1998. A report on that case said the man had identified himself as Steve Hicks or Hicks, and had claimed to be a resident of West Virginia before he lost consciousness after the crash. He passed away the following May due to complications from his injuries. Pictures of the man showed that he too bore a strong physical resemblance to Stephen, but Rasmussen said that a blood test showed that it was not in fact Stephen. As a result of those follow-up cases, Rasmussen said his department decided to do a DNA profile on Stephen. He said, quote, "We determined that really needed to be done as soon as possible." Well, duh. So police did obtain DNA samples from his parents. Why didn't they do that? I mean, granted, I know this was back in 96, but I would think, I mean, DNA was a thing back then, back in 96. Anyway, so Rasmussen said that Stephen's information, including dental records, fingerprints, and last known photographs, do remain on file with the California Department of Justice Missing and Unidentified Persons System, which is linked to Hawaii's Missing Persons Database. California and Hawaii's Missing Persons Databases also are connected to the United States Department of Justice, the Office of Justice Programs, NAMUS. This is according to Rasmussen. So Stephen's newly added DNA profile will be checked against existing cases, with the system also running a check for possible matches every time a new profile is added. Rasmussen said that it is possible that Stephen is still alive, possibly living under a different name and identity, and that someone may recognize him, which will help finally wrap up the case once and for all. And Rasmussen says, quote, there is always hope, end quote. Absolutely. Always keep the hope. So once again, the physical description of Stephen from the time of his disappearance: white male, approximately 6 foot tall, 170 pounds, with brown hair and blue eyes. At that time, he had long curly hair, which he wore in a ponytail, may have had a light brown curly beard. He did have a history of smoking cigarettes. He may have been wearing a scarf, headband, a tie-dye shirt, or black or white shirt, jeans, or cut-off shorts and sandals. So Rasmussen said the Lakeport Police Department is working on getting an image developed that will show what Branston would look like at age 40. And I don't think the Charley Project had an age progression photo, because if they do, I usually put it on the slide. So the Lakeport Police Department did plan to continue to work with authorities in Hawaii on the case. Blah, blah, blah. So once again, anyone with information is urged to contact, once again, the Lakeport PD or the Honolulu PD. All right. That was a long article, but lots of good information. I always like to try to find as much information as I can on these cases, because just one little detail that's mentioned in one of these articles could be someone could hear it and say, hey, I remember, this reminds me of something, this jogs my memory. Lots of comments. Maybe it'll let me get down to all of them. Hold on, I'm scrolling. Lots of stuff has popped up here. Okay, there's where I was at. Thank God I remembered to mark it. Okay, Miss Peggy. Oh, we were talking about Miss Peggy's sister is in Wisconsin, right? She says, yes, it is cold in Wisconsin. Let's see. Oh, Miss Farr is here, and she gifted one Southern Gal True Crime membership. Welcome, welcome, as always, Miss Farr. And as always, thank you very much. Let me find. Thank you so much, Miss Farr. That is so very kind of you. Miss Farr is an angel. Yes, Miss Farr is awesome. Once again, sorry for the coughing. Josh said, yes, it does. Did Miss Peggy get the membership? Awesome. Farr said, congrats, Peggy. Welcome to the paddock. Yes, congrats to Miss Peggy. Welcome, welcome to the paddock. You are still discussing these cases. You guys are going to have to let me know which ones you're talking about. The Honolulu cases. Yes, Josh, you're going to drive me crazy with this. Crazier than I already am. Let's see. Yeah, once again, do all the things. Yes, you should, Chris. Clue me in on which you're talking about. Yes, definitely email me. My email is, where's my email? Will it come up? Oh my goodness, everything's so slow. There it is. southerngaltruecrime@hotmail.com. Oh goodness, you guys are killing me. Oh my goodness. Sorry, lost my place again. And for some reason, I have not been able to get on Facebook. Because I used to do it through my phone because I'm logged into I have two accounts. I have my personal account and then I have my Southern Gal account. And for some reason, I've not been able to get into Facebook on my phone. I've uninstalled and reinstalled the Facebook app 2 or 3 times. It still won't let me in. It'll come up and then it'll say, the app isn't responding, blah, blah, blah. So I don't know what the deal is. And I can't remember. So I was going to log in on my computer, but I can't remember what email address and password that I used for my Southern Gal account. I mean, I can get it Facebook Messenger is working. So, I mean, but I can't, I have not been able to post anything on Facebook. It's driving me nuts. And I don't know. I don't know what else to do. Like I said, I've installed and uninstalled and installed the app 2 or 3 times, still won't work. None of my family members are having any problems with it on their phones. So I don't know if it's my phone or I don't know. Anyway, but you still can get a hold of me through Facebook Messenger or email. Okay, so Josh said, going back to Stephen's case, Josh says his mother said that he returned home from a previous trip to Honolulu complaining that he heard voices. So I'm not an expert on anything, but is that a symptom of schizophrenia? I'm thinking maybe, or, is hearing voices. And it was also interesting, didn't it, in either the Charley Project information or the article, it may be in the Charley Project information, I think it said that the schizophrenia might have been brought on, let me go back to his Charley Project information, may have been brought on by by LSD. I didn't know that could happen, but apparently it does. I know I read it somewhere, or was that the other one? That might have been the case before. Regardless, if it was Michael's case or Stephen's case, I was not aware that the use of any kind of psychotic substances could bring on schizophrenia. So I learn something new every day. Oh yeah, I forgot Josh was. Josh says he was born at Tripler in Honolulu. Yeah, Josh says he was seeing a psychiatrist in California prior to his last return to Hawaii. Yeah, and he didn't say he didn't want the psychiatrist to know that he wasn't, or that he had stopped taking his meds. Farr gifted another membership. Thank you very much, Miss Farr. I think that's the second one. Let me make sure. Yep, that is the second one. Thank you so much, Miss Farr. So I will give you another moo cow. Is patriotism still here? They always want to hear the moo cow. Thanks to you guys for getting to hear lots of moo cows tonight, and everything that is everything I get from the memberships, from super chats, super stickers, donations, all goes right back into the channel. So thank you so much to everybody who donates. Oh, Junior said he found the emojis. Did you find the member emojis? Nicole got that one. Excellent. Welcome, Nicole. Y'all quit messing with me. Goodness. I'm gonna get caught up in a minute. Okay, Josh said, Stephen's case, he was homeless, pushing carts at the airport. It's just so sad. I just, let's see. Now y'all playing with the, I can't see them. I just says playing with the member emojis. Hey, Miss Brady, welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to have you here as always. Please do, and I'm sure Mustang or somebody has already put in the link. Please do check out Miss Brady, Miss Nicole, everybody over at Stolen Spirits MMIWG. They're on YouTube. They're also on Facebook. And I think I have yes, I have their, I will throw their Facebook link in the chat. Give me 1 second. Oh my goodness. Come on. There is there. I'm just going to throw me to the bottom of the chat. Oh, no, it didn't. They do wonderful work. They obviously, you can tell by the name, they feature missing and murdered Indigenous women, girls, people, Indigenous persons. They make gorgeous, beautiful, informative missing persons flyers. They do excellent live streams, videos about missing Indigenous. They are one of our favorites around here, most definitely. Nicole says the emojis are so cute. Thank you, thank you. Let me see here. Josh said, it is crazy where you can disappear on that small island. Yeah. And I don't know, Josh, you would know better than me, obviously. What kind of, I mean, I'm sure there's probably like more city type terrain than maybe, I know wilderness is not the right word I'm looking for, but you know what I mean. More rugged, forested areas, maybe. I don't know. I've never been to Hawaii, so my family's been, but I didn't get to go. So, I mean, but unfortunately, if somebody wants to disappear or not be on this earth anymore, I mean, they're going to find a place to do it, or a place to go where they won't be found, no matter where you're at or where they're at. So, yep. Josh says, yeah, they named different islands that he may have been seen on. Molokai was one, I believe, like Josh said. Josh says, well, to me, that's a lot, but I come from a town, a little hamlet of less than 2,000 people. But Josh says that is an island that still today has less than 10,000 people. Okay, so Josh says Molokai, I hope I'm pronouncing these names and places relatively correctly, is difficult to get to. You can't just hitchhike. Okay. So that answers one of my questions about the terrain. Let's see. Just gonna get caught up. Hey, Butterfly Kisses. Good to see you. Welcome. Hope you're doing well tonight. Okay, so Josh says the Lake County News has age progression photos of Stephen. All right, let me find. Let me see if I can find it right quick. Bear with me. Let me put in Stephen Branston age progression photo. See what I can find here. Or maybe I did have that already. No, I didn't. I remember looking at it. Let's see. Aha! All right. I thought I bookmarked this. Anyway, okay, let me try once again, see if it'll screen share so I can show you guys. Let me take this down for a minute. May take it, hopefully it won't take it as long as it did last time to pop up. Oh, it's coming, wait for it. Oh, let me get, where the photos go? Oh, I went to the wrong tab. Hold on. Let's see if it'll switch over. No, dang it. Hold on. I shared the wrong tab. Oh, my goodness. Let me try again. I shared the wrong tab. I had 2 different tabs up. We'll get there. We'll get there sometime tomorrow, I promise. Share. It's coming. It's trying. It's trying. There it is. All right. So there is the age progression to 40. And this came from revise.com. It's a PDF. See, there's an article with it. Oh, it's just an article telling about, let's see what it says. I don't think it has any other information. When is it from? From September of 2016. So that's about the same time that other article that I read came out. So it probably doesn't have any other information, but let me get back up to the age progression or to the photo. Sorry, it's running slow. Run, Forest. There we go. All right, so there's the age group. I'll leave those up there till we get caught up on the comments. Ms. Paula wants to know any suspects. No. I mean, like I said, just my opinion. It was, I mean, it could, foul play could have had something to do with it, but in my opinion, it was either he just, the top 3 on my list of possibilities would be he just either he's alive and well, best case scenario, he's alive and well out there. He just wanted to just go out on his own, get away, live off the grid. Could be in self-harm. They did say, he had these dreams or these thinking about, going to Hawaii and basically dying in Hawaii. It could have been accidental. He could have had some kind of accident. We just don't know. All in the cases like this, unfortunately, all the possibilities are there for what could have happened. But that is a good question, as always. What, did I miss somebody? Oh, almost missed. Welcome, Angel Bear. Good to have you here. That is a new name for me, but welcome. Always good to see new names. Josh said, interesting that there is a sketch artist in the article I linked who advocates for missing homeless. Trepkov has a book, Faceless, Voiceless, From Search to Closure. Excellent. Far says she loves the cow. Yep. Hold on. I'm just getting caught up. I keep getting, for some reason, there's a lag on something with my cursor and my touchpad on my computer. It's just laggy. There is the link to the Facebook group for Stolen Spirits. You are very welcome, ma'am, anytime. It's all right, Mustang. I've got stolen spirits on my bookmarks on my browser on my computer, and I think I have oh man, locks of reunification. I think I have theirs bookmarks just so I wouldn't lose them. Thank you. Chris said he's going to stop driving me crazy for the rest of the live stream. Okay, so Josh is giving me information. I asked about the terrain. He said Oahu has rainforest, city, flatland in the middle, and even a Texas-looking part on the west side past Diamond Head. So it's all like basically like I was kind of figured, just all kinds of different terrain. Oh, I thought you meant you had seen him. You mean like posters of him? Josh said, I've been to Oahu several times and I've seen him there. I mean, not him, but him. You mean like pictures, posters, missing flyers? I was getting excited. I was like, wait a minute, what? Are you one of the ones that reported a sighting? All right. I think I'm caught up again. All right, let me stop sharing that. Maybe I think it's when I share the screen too, with my farm signal, it kind of slows everything down. But I did want to share. Thank you, Josh, for mentioning the age progression photos. All right, so next we have Aaron Bustamante. Let me get to his information. So Aaron has been missing since May 24th, 2011 from Honolulu. He is classified as endangered missing. He is an Asian male, 35 years old at the time he went missing. He was 5'8" tall, 190 pounds, with brown hair and brown hazel eyes. He is of Filipino descent. Last known clothing was a dark colored shirt and light colored printed board shorts. So I'm assuming maybe what am I trying to I can see them, but I don't know what they're called besides board shorts. Like surfing, like swim trunks, maybe men's swim trunks. I don't know. So this is what the third one now. So Aaron also suffers from schizophrenia, does require daily medication to control his condition. It doesn't say here whether or not he has the medication with him when he went missing. So Aaron was last seen in the Kailua area in Honolulu on May 24th, 2011. Excuse me. He was homeless at the time, but his father would bring him meals every day. After that, May 24th, he has never been seen or heard from again. So he was placed in foster care right after birth. He was later adopted by his foster parents. They said that his behavior began to change when he was in his late teens, and eventually he was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and he went to live in a group home. So he eventually decided to live on the streets, but he kept in regular touch with his parents up until his disappearance. His parents described him as a quiet person. He enjoyed being alone. Due to his mental illness, there is obviously grave concern for his safety, and his case remains unsolved. Once again, if you have any information, please contact the Honolulu Crime Stoppers on this one at 808-955-8300. So let me see if I was able to find. I was not able to find any other information on Aaron. Well, I mean, there's other, just basic information, basically the same information that the Charley Project found. But Josh is, he always comes up with the information from somewhere. So if you come across anything, do let me know. I guess I could do the search again, but when I know when I was researching, when I was on the Google machine, no, I don't want Aaron Rodgers. Okay, there's another search that I did. No, missing. Okay. So I got the Charley Project, Crime Stoppers Honolulu. I don't think it had any different information. Nope, didn't have any additional information. He does have a NamUs page. Just once again, same basic information. Says that Aaron was a transient in the, I'll try not to butcher this, Manalo and Kailua areas. Once again, he suffered from schizophrenia. It says for which he refused to take medication for. It says that he was last seen by his father on May 24th, 2011 in the area of the former Blockbusters store in Kailua. So that was a little bit of different information. I wonder if that meant Blockbuster Video. So no, this was in 2011. Were there any? I don't think there was any Blockbuster videos left in 2011. Was it 2011 when he was missing? Yeah, 2011. No, I don't know what Blockbusters is. It probably has nothing to do with the late great Blockbuster videos. They were from back in the day. All right. Let's see. Oh, I got you. Okay, so Josh, when I said that he said he's seen him, but not him, he says no, just homeless teens and kids that are spitting images of him. Doesn't surprise me that there were multiple sightings. Gotcha. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, it's good that in these cases people are on the lookout for missing persons, but like I said, they can very easily, you can see just somebody from a distance or even up close that, if you just see one picture from a flyer or from a TV news blurb or whatever, there are, false identifications. It's understandable, but yeah, Josh says that picture there says a quite stark, piercing look. Yeah. Yeah, the other one, because there was only two pictures on the Charley Project, and they were both about the same kind of look. Let me go back. So the other one is this almost the exact same look, except he's wearing the same shirt, I believe, but he's wearing like a white baseball cap, but has basically the same shirt on and the same look on his face. It's got the mustache and goatee, mustache and beard, same thing. Same thing. Yeah, it does look like a stare. It's almost like it reminds me of the actor that played the dad in the original Amityville Horror, that kind of look, or the Jack Nicholson, The Shining look, kind of the eyes. That's what it reminds me of. Uh-oh, am I doing a bad job? Josh says we're going to have to give me grace on the pronunciations. Sorry, I'm doing the best I can. That is a good question. I did not think about that. Josh says, I wonder if Aaron was in the same care home as Stephen. Yeah, because Stephen was also in a care home. Was it Stephen or Michael? It was one of them. That is a good question. I had not thought about that. Thank you, Junior. Junior says, I'm heading to bed. Good night, Dawn and everyone. Good night, Junior. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for your continued support. Sorry if my cup is being loud. It's always good to have Junior here. Yep, in foster care. Yep, he was in foster care. Yeah, I know what you meant. Yeah, the same care home. Like I said, I had not thought of that. Yeah, Mustang says Blockbuster Video was ruined by Netflix. I'm telling you, Netflix ruined everything. Well, back in the day, you could just go to Blockbuster and rent whatever, you know, in the when you had VHS, and then you had a DVD, you had Blu-ray that came along, and now everything's streaming, and you have 20 million streaming services to find movies, and you can never find a movie that you want to watch. At least that's the way it is for me. Now, when Netflix first came out, before they went on online streaming, you could actually rent DVDs, and they would send you the DVDs. Now, I like that because you could just pay a certain price. I mean, it was really cheap. Of course, this was back in like the 90s, maybe mid to late 90s, early 2000s. You could rent, depending on what price plan you had. I had the cheapest one. I think I could get 3 DVDs at a time, or 2 or 3, and you could keep them as long as you wanted to. Of course, you had a list. You put movies on your list, and then you would select which movies or DVDs that you wanted them to send to you next. And I think I got either 2 or 3 at a time. Keep them as long as you wanted, and then as soon as you send them back, they would send you the next 2 or 3 or whatever on your list that you had on your list. It was awesome. Anyway, lots less complicated than it is now, and cheaper, more importantly. So Josh says they're years apart, but there are only so many places for that type of care on the island. See, that's what I was going to ask before I got distracted by the Blockbuster. Is, you know, how many care, you know, were there a lot of those type of care facilities on the island, or not that many? So that answered my question once again. That is a good question. Chris asked Josh, how common are Aaron and Michael's last names? Really? 2018? Wow, Josh said the last Blockbuster went out of business in Bend, Oregon in 2018. So I wonder if it was a Blockbuster video that they were talking about they saw him at. But they said Blockbusters, so I don't know. It might not be the same thing. That's interesting. I didn't even realize 2018. All right, let me make sure. Let me get back on focus here. You know me, I get distracted very easily. Okay, so that is all I had on Aaron. So next, we've only been on here an hour and a half. Really? Next we have, this is a twofer. So we have Albert DeMatos and Lucy Pacheco. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you Albert. I'm going to give both of their vitals first, and then the description of where how they disappeared is the same. So Albert and Lucy were both last seen on December 9th, 1965. So this is an old one, in Honolulu. So Albert is a white male. He was 73 years old at the time he went missing. 5'9" tall, 160 pounds. He was bald. He walked with a limp. Doesn't have an eye color. He did wear glasses. He did have diabetes and needed medication for it. The medication was left behind. So that is Albert. So let me go to, sorry, I'm trying to go back and forth here. So Lucy Pacheco went missing. They went missing together. Lucy is a white female. She was 60 years old when they went missing. 5'3" tall, 180 pounds. with gray hair and brown eyes. Lucy is of Portuguese descent. She also wore glasses. Her last known clothing was a muumuu, slippers, and an engagement ring. She took medication for high blood pressure and chest pain. She also her medication was also left behind. Did it give last known clothing? It didn't give a last known clothing description for Albert. All right, so that's their vitals. Albert lived in the 900 block of, I'm just going to spell this, Koae Street. I don't want to butcher it. Koae, Koae Street in Honolulu in 1965. And I believe Lucy lived in the 1200 block. So they live fairly close together. Yeah, she lived, so he was engaged to Lucy, who lived in the 1200 block of, no, it's a different street, Luai Street, Luawai Street. Both had previous spouses who were deceased, and they had only known each other for 3 weeks prior to their disappearance. So apparently, within that 3 weeks, they had already gotten engaged, and then they disappeared. So the couple visited Albert's son on December 9th of 1965. After that, between 8 and 9 a.m., they went for a drive together, saying that they were going to the laundromat and that they would return soon. So Albert was apparently carrying between $700 and $800 in cash when they were last seen. So back in 1965, $700 or $800 was a lot of money. I mean, to me, in 2026, $700-800 is a lot of money. So Lucy called her daughter at 2 p.m. Told her that she and Albert were going to go for this drive and that they would be back soon. They never returned. I don't believe they ever found the car either. So the vehicle was a gray blue 4-door 1957 Pontiac with the license plate number 5A-31514. So I don't believe the car was ever found either. So apparently so they went missing, and when they were, family got worried. Apparently somebody went to the house to check on them, or went to Lucy's house, and they said that there was a pot of stew was found cooking in Lucy's apartment after she vanished. So that led them to believe that they weren't planning, just to run away and never come back, being as, she left the stew on the stove. So the police initially did not take the couple's disappearance seriously, thinking that they had eloped without telling anyone, and that they would eventually return. So investigators became concerned after weeks passed with no sign of either of Lucy or Albert or the vehicle. The only possible sighting of them was in a Sears and Roebuck department store in Honolulu, where a clerk claimed to have served them a month after they vanished. That sighting has not been confirmed. Both Albert and Lucy's prescriptions have not been refilled. Their bank accounts have not been accessed since their disappearance. Albert had $6,000 in a joint bank account that he shared with his son, and he was expecting more money from an apartment building that he had sold shortly before his disappearance. So Lucy left behind her purse, her wedding ring. Once again, both of them did leave their meds behind. So it says Lucy is described as a dependable woman. She always kept in close contact with her teenage daughter, but none of her family members have ever heard from her again after she and Albert went off on this to the laundromat, and then said they were going to go on a drive, and after that, they have not been seen or heard from since. So Albert left behind 8 grown children. Lucy left behind four. All of her children were adults except for Lucy's youngest daughter, who was in her teens at the time. Lucy had postponed her planned wedding until the summer months so that she could take her daughter along on the honeymoon. So both Albert and Lucy's cases are no longer being investigated by law enforcement due to the passage of time since they vanished. So that's, I mean, I understand resources have to be allocated to, but I mean, it just makes me sad, I guess, more than anything, that, somebody's case, it doesn't matter how long they've been missing, that's still, because at the end of this, it says, let me get back down here. The law enforcement is no longer investigating it because so much time has passed, but their families have never forgotten them. So that is, I mean, it doesn't matter how long somebody is missing, they still have family, friends, people who miss them, who love them, who want to know what happened to them. So it just makes my heart hurt to know that it's not being investigated. But like I said, I do understand, resources have to be allocated. There are limited resources. And when, if you have a missing person for so long and you don't get any new leads or tips or anything that will move the investigation forward, I do understand that, but it just makes me sad. So anyway, so once again, their families have never forgotten them. It is not clear whether they left voluntarily together or if other factors caused their disappearances. And it says the case continues to puzzle people. Absolutely. But if you do have any information, there is no investigating agency. So I would say if you do happen to have any information, call the your local law enforcement if you're not in Honolulu, or call the Honolulu PD. But yeah, it's on the side there. Investigating agency, none. That just makes me sad. Anyway, all right. Let me see if I was able to find any. Excuse me. Apparently my supper is not agreeing with me as usual. We had since it was cold tonight, we had homemade campfire stew for supper. All right, so this is from it's tapatalk.com, but it's Porchlight International for the Missing and Unidentified. I do use this sometimes. So let me see. There was a reason I bookmarked it. Now I don't remember why. Let me go through it. So a search. So it had a clipping from an old news article. I'm assuming, I don't know. Well, it's just a copy. They just copy and pasted the text. So it says new search for missing couple fails. So I don't know how long after. I'm assuming it's fairly well. I don't know. It said they went weeks before they even started searching. But anyway, so it says a 6-hour search from Hawaii Kai to Makapua Lookout. Josh, I apologize once again for butchering these names. And on Sand Island, failed to find any trace of a missing 73-year-old man and his 60-year-old bride-to-be. The land, sea, and air search for Alfred A. DeMatos and Lucy Pacheco involved 54 men from the fire and police departments and the Windward Volunteer Rescue Squad and the Civil Air Patrol. DeMatos and Miss Pacheco disappeared on December 9th after leaving for a drive. His son last month offered a $1,000 reward for information on what happened to them. Coordinator of the effort, radio commentator Jimmy Walker, said the search would continue on other weekends. Walker said, quote, what? No. Sorry. made me lose my place. Walker said, quote, "We looked everywhere it was possible to go off the road. It had been speculated that the missing persons might have been in an accident." So that's why, once again, I was wondering about the terrain. Could they have driven into a body of water? Could they have driven over a cliff or something, or driven off the road and had an accident and just weren't found? And that still could be a possibility, but apparently they did a pretty in-depth, extensive search and didn't find anything. So Fire Chief Richard Young was on the scene, as was Deputy Chief Abraham Cooney. Assistant Fire Chief Christian Ellis was in charge of the search. Police is just telling everybody who was there. Yeah, I think that's why I booked that, because I was wondering how extensive of a search they did. So this, once again, the search was from Hawaii, Kai, to Makapua Lookout and Sand Island. And it said they did do land, air, and water. They looked in every, it says we looked everywhere it was possible to go off the road. So like I said, I mean, it sounded like they did a pretty extensive search and didn't find anything. So that just makes it even more, even more mysterious. That they didn't find any sign of a wreck or the car or anything. All right, let me get back into your comments for a second and get caught up. Oh my goodness, I forgot where I left off at. Oh, I'll find it. Give me a second. Right, I remember Junior saying that he was hitting the hay. Gosh, it's laggy. This computer. Okay, we were talking about the Blockbuster. Oh, really? Josh says he has. Dang it. Says I've revisited the case of these two several times over the years. Excellent. So anything new that you found? Wait, I missed that part. So Josh says, I wonder why this case, so you're talking about Albert and Lucy, was initially investigated by the Juvenile Crime Division. I missed that somewhere, apparently. Wow. Yeah, that is very weird. Most definitely. Because they definitely weren't they definitely weren't juveniles. So Albert was what, in his 70s, 72 maybe, and Lucy was I believe 60. That is strange. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Where's the car? Josh says, where's the car? Yep. Chris says, better question is what investigative agency? Yeah, no agency is investigating them now. Like I said, I understand, but it makes me sad. It's still sad and aggravating. Okay, Josh says, Sand Island concerns him. Why does it concern you? Okay, he says, if I would keep reading, Josh says it was quite a trash heap and a homeless encampment prior to the 70s. Ah, okay. I see what you're getting at. Thank you once again. Mustang says do all the things. Okay, so Josh says the Honolulu Star Bulletin describes a Sand Island security patrol captain had seen them and told them not to linger in the area. Okay. So was it Sand Island? Was it, okay, so you said it was a trash heap and a homeless encampment. So that answers my own question. I was going to ask, would it be a place for people to go sunbathe, swim, do whatever? But apparently not. You said prior to the 70s, you said it was a trash heap and a homeless camp. So that answers my question. Josh says the captain went diving after their disappearance and found a stolen car, but it was not theirs. Absolutely. Miss Paula says prayers to their families. Yes, I know. Chris concurs, agrees. Josh said, I wonder why they were going to Sand Island. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I wonder why. If they didn't know, I'm assuming they didn't have any idea, unless because Lucy did call her daughter and say, "Hey, me and Albert are going to go for a drive." So unless Lucy said, "Okay, we're going to go to this specific area on our drive," how did they know where to do the search at? That is my question. And it could have been that Lucy did. I think Albert did tell members of his family that they were going to go for a drive or something. There was something about a laundromat, and then Lucy told called her daughter, and said that she and Albert were going to go for a drive. So, good question. Good question. Right, I think that was all that I had on Lucy and Albert. All right, so we'll go to our next one. I don't think there's a whole lot of information, but once again, as always, if it will load, come on, there we go. Oh, I got to advance the slide. This is Keith Michael Garkowski. Okay, so Josh, going back to Albert and Lucy. Josh says the captain says he saw them out there 2 weeks prior to the disappearance and that they must have looked out of place. I wonder, so you said prior to, it was like a trash heap basically in a homeless encampment. I wonder if they had did they have any kind of history of maybe taking food or supplies or helping out the people that were out at Sand Island at the homeless encampment? I mean, that's the only reason I can think of that they would go out there. Maybe they were taking food, supplies, something out there. I don't know. Interesting. All right. So Keith Michael Garkowski. So Keith has been missing since July 19th, 1987 from Honolulu. He is a white male. He was just 18 years old when he went missing. He'll be 57 years old as of 2026. At the time he went missing, he was 6'1" tall, 200 pounds, with brown hair and blue eyes. It says that he has a strawberry mark in the center of his forehead. So you can't really, you might concede a little bit in that picture. So the only information is that he was in the Navy. He was stationed with the United States Navy in Honolulu in the summer of 1987. His family last heard from him on July 19th of that year. He has never been seen or heard from again. So this is one of them that said his disappearance may be linked to several other missing persons cases from the Honolulu area. So it's very vague on one hand, but very bizarre and interesting on the other hand. I mean, and there were quite a few, because I was looking at for Honolulu cases, and there were, like I said, 2 or 3 at least that said, these disappearances may be linked to several other missing persons cases. So I don't know around the same time frame, because this Keith went missing in 1987. So I don't know if they thought, like I said earlier, if there was some kind of maybe serial kind of situation going on. I mean, I've never heard of a serial offender or anything. Well, you guys, if you would tell me, apparently there was some kind of serial situation that Josh and Chris were talking about that they'll have to let me know about at some point around Honolulu. So I don't know. That's just weird that they say that. But so that is the information, and it doesn't So I'm assuming since he was in the Navy and he was stationed there, I'm assuming the Naval NCIS or whatever, surely they investigated his disappearance. It doesn't say anything about them doing any kind of investigation or declaring him AWOL, because in the last live stream we had, there was it was I can't remember her name. It was a lady that she had disappeared. She was in a branch of the military. She disappeared. I think it was a lady, and they declared her AWOL. Whatever our last live stream was, where we were talking about something, but it doesn't say anything about him being declared AWOL or if they did any investigation or what, just that his family last heard from him on July 19th of 1987. And that's it. But if you do have any information, call the excuse me, the Honolulu PD at 808-529-3111. Okay, Josh said, me and him are on the same wavelength. About what? About what? You'll have to remind me. I get lost in comments here. Chris, I'm assuming you're talking about Albert and Lucy's case. Said, did they do the extensive search like they said? I'm going to hope they did, since they said they did. But I mean, as civilians, our idea of an extensive search may differ from law enforcement's explanation or idea of an extensive search. But if they did what they said, I mean, they said they land, air, ground. They had all these different agencies that came out. They said they looked in land, air, water. From the land, air, water, they supposedly looked at every place they could have gone off the road, possibly into a body of water or over some kind of embankment or cliff or whatever. So I'm hoping they did the extensive search. But okay, so going back to Keith's case, Josh just comes up with this information. Said Naval Investigative Service did investigate. He was not declared AWOL. So did it say, did they come up with any kind of conclusion on anything? Do you know? Because I was thinking surely if he was stationed there in the Navy that they would have done some kind of investigation. So they did investigate, was not declared AWOL. Oh, we're on the same, I can't talk as usual. Same wavelength about the couple that they were maybe going out to give food and supplies to a homeless camp. Yeah. Yeah, that was the only, after I read your description of what Sand Beach or Sand Island was, that's the only reason I could think that they would be out there or would have been seen out there is bringing supplies to the homeless, trying to help them out. All right. Okay, once again, let me just double check, and because sometimes I've looked too fast at my browser or my bookmarks and overlooked something. But no, I did not have anything else on Keith. So next should be Kimberly Jacobs, and I think this might be the last one. This one is I don't know. I have my ideas, but once again, be your own judge after you hear the information, or just what family says too. So this is Kimberly Jacobs. She has been missing since August 21st, 2008 from Honolulu. She is classified as endangered missing. Sorry. She is a white female. She was 47 years old when she went missing. She would be 64 years old as of 2026. At the time she went missing, she was 5'4" tall, 130 pounds, with brown hair, brown eyes. This is due to a childhood bout with polio. Her right foot is slightly bent inward, and she walks with a distinctive limp. Her ears are pierced, and it says she may just use the last name Day, Kimberly Day, instead of Kimberly Day Jacobs. Her last known clothing description was a black shift type dress, a wedding band, and just other assorted rings. So Kimberly was last seen outside of her home at Diamond Head Apartments in the 2900 block of Kalakaua. Once again, I apologize, or Kalakaua Avenue in the Waikiki neighborhood of Honolulu at around 7:45 p.m. on August 21st, 2008. It says that she was emotionally distraught at the time of her disappearance due to she had some kind of leak in her apartment. It doesn't say what kind of leak. Excuse me, I don't know if it was like a water leak. I'm assuming not a gas leak, or they would have been evacuated. Some kind of leak in her apartment. She also suffered from back pain and other problems. And then once again, she had childhood polio, so she walked with a slight a limp, with her foot being slightly bent inward. So her husband had gone out to go to a meeting, he says, and when he returned home at around 8 p.m., he said she was gone. She has never been seen or heard from again, and a friend reported her missing. That's always a red flag to me in these cases. Husband didn't report her missing. Once again, I'm not saying that the husband had anything to do with the disappearance, but why would he not report her missing? And how many times in cases such as these, the husband, the spouse, the significant other is not the one that reports them missing? It is either a member of their immediate family, such as a parent, brother, sister, or a friend. So in this case, a friend reported her missing. So Kimberly was born in Los Angeles, California. She moved to Hawaii in the mid 1990s. She has a bachelor's degree in sociology from the University of California at San Diego, and she has a master's degree in education from the University of San Francisco. And she had also mentioned wanting to get a PhD in gerontology. I don't know what that is. Gerontology. Her loved ones described her as an avid traveler. She had visited like Peru, China, Russia. Her loved ones stated that it is uncharacteristic of her to leave without warning. So she left behind all of her belongings, including her purse, her car keys, her passport, her cell phone, credit cards, cash. Another red flag to me. It says her husband, apparently they had been married 3 years when she disappeared. They said he has cooperated with the investigation. He was ruled out as a suspect. It says there is no evidence of foul play in Kimberly's disappearance, but her case remains unsolved, and she was declared legally deceased in 2013. So if you have any information, once again, you can call the Honolulu PD at 808-529-3115. So, and I do have several shorter articles, which is a statement from the daughter, a statement from the husband, and some other interesting things, even though the police say that the husband, he's been cooperative, he's been ruled out as a suspect. Apparently, the family does not feel the same way. So we'll get to the first article. So this first one is from the starbulletin.com. It is from don't know when it's from. It doesn't say. About a week after she disappeared, a woman goes missing after upsetting day. So a Waikiki woman who was upset after a bad day last week has been missing since then from her apartment. Her husband of 3 years, financial planner Stan Jacobs, came home shortly after 6 p.m. Now, there are some accounts that say he came home at 6 p.m. Some articles say 8 p.m. So, but he came home at somewhere between 6 and 8 p.m. and found his wife upset. Well, maybe he came home at 6. So this is what confuses me. So in one art, it could just be the way the articles are written too. Said that he came home at 8 p.m. and she was gone. So this says that in this article that he says he came home shortly after 6 and they found his wife Kimberly upset. So maybe he'd come home from work at 6. Because he goes on to say, quote, she was tired and needed some rest and a little bit of downtime. He says, I came back at 8 and she was not there. So maybe he'd come home from wherever he was at 6. And then he went to this meeting or whatever it was, came back at 8, and that's when she was gone. Okay, so his wife had to deal with stress from back pain and a harassing tenant they had in one of their California properties, according to him. So Jacobs assumed his wife had gone to a friend's home nearby, as she usually did, and did not begin to fear for her safety until after an off-island friend filed a missing persons report with police. And did it say how long after she went missing that this friend filed the missing persons report? I can't remember. I'll go back in a minute. Don't let me forget. So Jacobs, the husband, said, quote, I was not concerned the next day because we have many friends nearby, end quote. Okay. He said his wife had left her cell phone, purse, and other belongings at their home. He said that he doesn't have reason to believe that she left the state. Jacobs also said that he does not believe his wife was attacked. Their home was not disturbed when he returned, so he didn't think it was any kind of home invasion or whatever, burglary, whatever. He said, quote, Kimberly is very powerful, forceful, and decisive. I'm not even thinking that anything happened, that somebody took her against her will. That is not realistic, end quote. Okay. So they did have 3 children and a grandchild whom Kimberly did care for constantly. Police said that Kimberly has a distinctive limp. Once again, her husband described her right foot as being slightly bent in and should be visible since she usually wears slippers or sandals. So I guess he was trying to say if you saw somebody, it'd be very distinct. The foot would stand out in the limp. So once again, he gave her vitals. So the husband said in a message to his wife, quote, just let us know you're okay. The baby's asking for you all the time. She needs you. Everybody loves you, end quote. So that was the story and statement from the husband. So, so he apparently made another passionate plea. This is from August. This is from Hawaii News Now from August of 2008. Missing woman's husband makes a passionate plea. Let me get past all the ads. So the husband of a missing Waikiki woman made a passionate plea Tuesday morning. He's asking for the public's help to find his wife. Kimberly Jacobs has been missing since late last week. At this point, the police aren't suspecting foul play. Her husband, Stan, says this is very unlike her to disappear for days without telling him and just wants his wife back home and safe and sound. Kimberly is an outgoing wife, mother, and grandmother. Stan, the husband, said, quote, I don't know what happened. It doesn't make sense. So I would like everybody's help, end quote. So Stan says that Kimberly was tired and needed some rest. So he went to a condo board meeting by himself. So then he says, quote, and I came back up at 8 o'clock and she wasn't there. And I thought she had gone someplace close. We have a lot of friends close by, so I wasn't concerned really, end quote. So I wonder if he called any of these friends that live close by to see if she was there after a certain amount of time had passed and she didn't come back home. So she has not been seen since then. Her purse, keys, and other belongings were left behind. Stan says that she can't go very far because she walks with a limp. He said, quote, people look at her foot. That's when they would be able to see that it's bent in. It's bent in this way, and she would always wear sandals, so it's not hidden, end quote. So before she disappeared, she was once again dealing with back problems, a leak in the condo, and this unruly tenant who lives in her property on the mainland. Stan said, quote, it's not that any one of those was major, but all of it together was a lot to deal with, end quote. So Kimberly has been missing. With each passing day, her family and friends, especially her 2-year-old granddaughter, miss her more and more. Once again, he said, quote, Stan says, they all love you. Everybody loves you. The baby's been asking for you all the time. She needs you. Everybody loves you. And your smile lights the world for everyone around you, end quote. So he is hoping that a light helps her find her way home. So that was Stan's plea for her return. So we have a statement or a plea from the daughter. And this is also from September 2008 from Hawaii News Now. So daughter of missing Waikiki woman makes tearful plea. Get past the... So the daughter of a Waikiki woman who's been missing for about a month broke her silence Friday, pleading for the public's help in finding her mother. Was again, I'm not going to go. So her family is praying for her safe return. Tears streamed down Autumn Day's face, the weight of her month-long ordeal quite clear. Despite extensive air and ground searches, there is still no sign of her mother, Kimberly Jacobs. Autumn says through tears, quote, I just really want my mother back. It's just so hard, end quote. Family members describe the 47-year-old as an upbeat person who was involved in her community, but police say that she was emotionally distraught when she vanished from her Waikiki apartment August 21st. Autumn said, quote, it's so hard because there's nothing. It's like she just fell off the planet, end quote. So Matt Williams, who is Kimberly's nephew, said, quote, it hurts really bad and it hurts my heart. And I wish I knew something as opposed to nothing. That is why I'm here just trying to put the word out, end quote. So Jacob's husband, Stan, of 3.5 years, planned a massive search in the Ala Moana area. Stan said, quote, I miss everything about her, end quote. So even though his wife walks with a limp from having polio as a child, he believes that she has gone unnoticed. He said, quote, if we have a real big blitz, we're hoping that stop. This is very poorly written. If we have a real big blitz, I'm talking about the search, people coming out to search, we're hoping that stops and that we all can have Kimberly back, end quote. So then it talks about how they had the search that weekend near Atkinson's Drive near Ala Moana Center. So that was the emotional plea from the daughter. So then I found this truecasefiles.com has a little bit on it. Let me get a drink right quick. So this is when it talks about the family is kind of not having as much faith in Stan as the law enforcement does. So once again, this is from truecasefiles.com. I don't know when it was uploaded, but it says Kimberly Day Jacobs has been missing since August 21st, 2008. I'm not going to read all this, everything that we've already went over. Okay, so so many people have found it suspicious that Kimberly's friend is the one who reported her missing rather than her husband. However, there are conflicting reports about Stan's potential involvement in her disappearance. Kimberly's page on the Charley Project, which I read earlier, states that Stan has cooperated with the investigation, but still, Kimberly's family members believe that he knows more than he has revealed. So a blog run by Kimberly's sister has elaborated a bit more on their suspicions against Stan. Various posts on the blog state that Stan has held memorials and or vigils for Kimberly without inviting Kimberly's family members. Some people have commented on these posts in Stan's defense, while others have also commented that they too are suspicious of him. Authorities have not publicly named Stan as a suspect. Says that Kimberly's case, whoever wrote this blog or this website says Kimberly's case has many similarities to the Suzanne Morphew case. Suzanne vanished on May 10th, 2020 from her family's home in Maysville, Colorado. She was reported missing by a neighbor rather than her husband, Barry. Whatever's coming with that case, didn't they charge him finally? Did he go to trial? Anyway, so many of Suzanne's loved ones did have suspicions about Barry from the very beginning. Okay, so after almost a year after Suzanne's disappearance, Barry was arrested and charged with Suzanne's homicide. However, those charges were eventually dropped. Did they drop them? I'm behind in that case. And Suzanne still remains missing today. So like I said, this could be an older article. So it says, unlike Suzanne's case, Kimberly's case has not had any arrest or publicly named suspects. Tigger, my cat's over here looking at me like, well, would you just shut up and let me go to sleep? Well, he's probably going to want out, so I'm going to have to get up and let him out. Do you want out, dude? Hold on. 1 second, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to let the cat out of the room. Still let the cat out of the bag. I had to let the cat out of the room. Okay, so I did find this blog that they mentioned, or it had a link to it in this truecrimecasefiles.com, had a link to the blog where they were talking about these comments and posts that the family has made. So let me find that to see exactly what was said. Let me screen share it. We'll see if it'll work. Once again. One second. It may take a second for it to come up. There it is. Okay, so this is KimberlyDayJacobs.blogspot.com. As you see, there's a pictures of Kimberly, beautiful lady. But I wanted to get down to this part. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. But somebody, I'm assuming a family member, one of the family members, in 2000, I think it was from January 12th, 2011, they wrote, Stan is having another memorial for Kimberly. Apparently, quote, comforting family, end quote, does not include her only daughter, Autumn, who resides in Hawaii, or her only sister, Stephanie, and brother, Mark, 2 nephews, and a niece in California. Not only did Stan Jacobs, Kimberly's husband, fail to include her immediate family, we were not even informed of this memorial. It should be a good show, but we don't buy your grief, Stan, or support you in any way. You have shown Kimberly's recently deceased mother and her true family little consideration or genuine warmth. We are not ready to let go of our precious Kimberly until we have some true answers. How quickly you have erased her in real life, but your public ceremonies are nicely staged. So that is, yeah, I would say that is, I don't think they like Stan very much. So then, as I'm assuming this is a clip from an article, a memorial for missing woman unites Honolulu's Jewish community from January 10th, 2011. A tribute in honor of missing Honolulu woman Kimberly Jacobs will be held on Sunday, January 23rd, 2011. The memorial will begin at blah, blah, blah. So it did have some, let's see, was it from Stan? Now, these are statements, I'm assuming from the Rabbi Peter, the rabbi. He says, quote, almost 2.5 years ago, Kimberly Jacobs went missing from her home, her family, and her life. For many months, friends and family members faithfully worked to find Kimberly and lived in hope that she would turn up somewhere, somehow, and be able to return to the circle of life of which she had been a part. The time has now come to formally bring to a close that heartfelt search and instead accept with deepest regret that Kimberly has left us and will not return. I find that just very, anyway. It says, please join us for this belated but important opportunity to remember Kimberly, to pay our respects to her and the life that she led, and to comfort her family and one another as we say goodbye, end quote. So that was a quote from the rabbi. So what do you guys think about that? I don't know. I mean, why is Stan the only one that's so hell-bent on giving up, and saying, no, she's not coming back. She's no longer on this earth. Let's remember, how did the rabbi put it? So after bring a close to the heartfelt search, accept with deepest regret that Kimberly has left us and will not return. So why is Stan saying that? I just have questions. Just have questions. Anyway, so what do you guys think? I don't know. Right, let me stop sharing that so it'll it makes things laggy. All right. Let me go back to, there we go. Let me make sure that was all. I think that was all I had. And I think Kimberly was our last one. Yeah, that was all I had. Okay. Let me get caught up in your comments. Okay, Josh, going back to Keith. Where's Keith? There's Keith. Say Keith was known to be an avid snorkeler. So it's possible that he had a snorkeling accident. Possible. Josh says he did not drink, smoke. He was a model service person with no history of violence. You're very welcome, Mustang. Josh says that Keith's family have taken out ads in Hawaii newspapers all the way up to 2007. So he went missing in what, 87 was it? Keith graduated from the Recruit Training Command in San Diego just under a year before his disappearance. Oh, yes. Okay. So he was the one that was the Navy. In Navy. He was stationed in Honolulu. So, yeah, it would be interesting. And I know that their, military ain't going to come out publicly and say in their investigation what, if anything, that they found. But it would be interesting to know You said he was he graduated, he was a model, let me go back down. A model service person, no history of violence, no problems. He graduated from the Recruit Training Command just a year before he disappeared. So it sounds like he was a good kid. No problems, no violence. So it would be interesting to know what the Naval Investigative Service thinks about his disappearance. There is our bitchy Spice Girl, or our deranged Barbie one. Hello, Miss Lisa Joe. It is always good to see you, my dear. Welcome. Let me see. Yes, I had to let the cat out. Yeah, Tigger's been in here. He had been Biscuit was in, I guess, is in there sleeping with mom or doing, who knows what Biscuit is doing, honestly. But Tigger was in here on my bed sleeping, but I'd shut the bedroom door. And I happened to look over at the bed and he was looking at me like, would you shut up so I can go to sleep? He had that old grumpy man look on his face. Anyway, and then he decided he wanted out. Anyway. Let's see. Really? That makes me even more. So Josh says for Keith, several FOIA requests have been denied in his case. I wonder if it's just because he was in the military or if it's just something that they found out that they just don't want anybody to know about publicly. I mean, I know military police work different, completely separate from like civil police or however you want to say it. But that's interesting. FOIA related to NCIS investigation files. Like I said, I don't know. That could just be because it's military. I don't know. Or not. Josh says, yeah, they aren't going to release info, but the reference by military sources about other disappearances without further detail gets me. So the military actually says something about other linked disappearances. Yeah, that's the question I had. Lisa Joe had also is Hawaii usually apt to give information via FOIA? I'm thinking it just has something to do because he was in the military. I mean, I could be wrong. It could be something or both, because it's military, or because it's military files, and maybe because they did find out something, they just don't want to release it publicly. So to hint or to hurt any kind of investigation. Josh says, I'm not sure if it's more Hawaii than military. Yeah. Josh says his dad was stationed at Schofield there. At least Joe said that's why I was asking you. I've never sent a FOIA to Hawaii. Interesting. Yeah, to me, I mean, I said either it's just because it's Hawaii and they just operate different, or just because it's military. I don't know if it's. I know all military files aren't classified. I don't know. Are all military classified? I mean, I know they can declassify files, but I don't know if any kind of a NCIS, NIS investigation will be classified or not, and that's why they won't. Or if it's just SOP, standard operating procedure for the military to not give any of their files through FOIA request. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, just how could somebody just disappear off the face of the earth? Obviously, we know that can't happen unless aliens got him. Who knows? I'm not being flippant. I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't have said that, but you know what I'm saying. I mean, we know people don't just disappear into thin air, but sometimes it just seems like they do. So Lisa Joe talking about FOIA requests. She says some states just sent all of them, and some states are great or aren't great about complying. And then she says some states just deny them all. I don't know. Yeah, Keith's case. I don't know. Probably out of all of them. Well, the Keith's case and the twofer we had, Albert and Lucy. That just, I don't know. I don't know, more so Keith's case, because I mean, you would think that in him being in the military, to me, him being in the military makes a difference, because he was stationed there, he was active military, and you would think that they, I mean, would, you know what I'm trying to say, that they would know where their people are at all times. I mean, I know you can get a leave or whatever. I don't know. You guys know what I'm trying to say, hopefully. They would, you would think that the military would be more apt to know where their people were all the time, you know, keep an eye on them. Whereas in Lucy or in these other cases, it could be, I mean, or it could be anything. It could be accident, it could be foul play, it could be self-harm. I don't know. I don't know. Josh could probably tell you. Lisa just says, has Keith been declared deceased? Sorry, I'm late. I don't know if it's said. I don't think. Hold on. Let me go back to the Charley Project information. If it doesn't, nothing that I found. Of course, the only thing I was able to find was just the Charley Project, I believe, on Keith's case. Maybe that's why, maybe because military is keeping things hush on this as far as releasing information. Maybe that's why I couldn't find any information on his case. So it says, but going back to the Charley Project, it says his family last heard from him on July 19th of what year was it? 87. I wonder when the military last had heard from him or knew where he was. Was it around the same time? Was it later, after the 19th? It'd be interesting once again to know when the last time the military knew where he was stationed at in Honolulu, where they knew he was present and accounted for. Anyway, oh, okay. Where do you find all this information, Josh? Josh is like a human, I don't know, something. He said Keith was leaving the ship on Liberty. Yeah, that's like a day pass, whereas leave is longer. So you're saying the day that, so does it say when? Was it around the 19th? July 19th was when his family last heard from him. So was that the last time that when he left on this Liberty Day Pass? Was that I'm assuming that's the last time where he was stationed at knew where he was? He just didn't come back? But just to me, it's strange that they did not declare him AWOL. Or at least, don't they usually make that public? Because like I said, in the live stream the other night, we had the lady that disappeared. She was in one, I can't remember what branch it was, but she was declared AWOL and she disappeared. But it just was weird, strange to me that Keith is not declared AWOL. So that tells me, or in my opinion, that tells me that the military has found something, knows something, or at least suspects something that they would not declare him AWOL. Don't they usually make that public? I could be wrong. Sorry, Miss Paul, if I didn't see your question. What did you ask? Josh also says he hasn't seen anything that says that Keith has been declared deceased. Hey, it is JP, the Forgotten Artist. Once again, changing his name. Now it's the Forgotten Artiste more than one artist. It's good to see you, JP. Welcome, welcome. I hope you're doing well tonight, sir. Okay, so Lisa Joe says the family should be able to request his records from the military, but he may need to be declared deceased. Not sure on that, but I hope they try regardless if they have it. Absolutely. Yeah, like I said, it's very strange. I keep harping on it. I have a one-track mind of, tunnel vision that they have not declared that we know of, have not declared him AWOL. Okay. So Josh says, my dad was there in the 80s, and so that's around the same time frame. Keith went missing in 87, and he said he knew of missing servicemen who got into some sort of accident in highly restricted areas, and sometimes the military would cover that up rather than disclose location. Interesting. But if he was on a day pass, God, now you're going to make me go down a rabbit hole. So it could be, does the Navy, well, I'm sure all branches of military do it. Did the Navy do a lot of like secret missions or whatever, and maybe they just said he went out on a day pass and he was really on some kind of covert, you know what I'm saying, some kind of classified mission, and something did happen, and like you said, they would cover it up instead of disclose the location of this restricted area. Oh, you've got me going down rabbit holes with this. Thanks, Josh. Oh, goodness. But Josh goes on to say those are rumors. I don't know. Don't get me started. You're going to get me. The military is going to come knocking on my door because I can go down some conspiracy rabbit holes. Miss Paula says, if you can scroll up, I did ask. I'm sorry if I missed it, Miss Paula. It only let me scroll up so far sometimes. I apologize, Miss Paula. Let me see. Okay, there I am. Okay, Josh says, I think she was Navy. What was it? What was the last live stream I did before this one? I don't even remember. It was Friday, right? Was it one of the stories we talked about Friday? What did we do Friday? No, we did the fun, but we talked about true crime too. Yeah, or maybe it was last week's Missing Person Monday. But yeah, one of the ladies was in the military and she disappeared, and they did declare her AWOL. Anyway, Josh says, I think she was Navy, and I think without evidence of abandonment, they usually don't declare AWOL simply for being missing. Okay. But see, I don't think they had any on that one that we talked about. The lady, I don't know, they may have what they had. They may have had what they considered evidence of abandonment, and that's why they declared her AWOL. I can't even remember. Was it Navy? Same thing. Your memory is better than mine, Josh. Mine is horrible. Okay, I got you, Miss Paula. Miss Paula had also asked, she said, I asked, why hasn't he been declared deceased yet? Okay, I got you. Yeah. Yeah, see, I don't know. Once again, since he was in the military, I don't know if it'll have to be, well, Lisa Joe, I think, said the family would have to have him legally declared deceased instead of the military. I know the military has all their own separate rules and regulations apart from even, civilian law enforcement, public law enforcement, and things of that nature. Thank you, Mustang, for getting JP's link in there. Oh, I love watching that podcast. So Lisa Joe said this will be a great case to get on the Vanished podcast. Marissa does great with old cases like this, and she's great at FOIAs. Ooh, You got connections? Can you send it? I do. I have listened. It's been a while since I listened to her, but yes, I do like the Vanish podcast. Yes. See, now Josh has got me going down all these rabbit holes with this one. Or helping me go down. I can go down my own rabbit holes without any help. Well, that is true. That is true. Josh says, I don't think that some clandestine mission will be given to someone months out of the recruit training. That is true. It's just a thought. Just a thought. What kind of list are you talking about? Government list? Lisa Joe said, don't worry, you'll never be on as many lists as I'm on. So if Lisa Joe goes missing, we will know where to check first. We won't get any answers. Oh, gotcha. Melissa or Lisa Joe says, Marissa, who does the Vantage podcast, is a good friend of mine. She will not cover cases unless the family requested. Well, dadgummit, we need to find a way to get her family to get in touch with Marissa to request she cover the case, or family or someone with a connection. Man. See, now I'm going to be up all night thinking about this case. Anyway. All right. Okay, so we did Kimberly. Yeah, because Kimberly was our last one. Same here. Same here. Mustang says most of the list I'm on are shite list. Same here, probably. I don't know. I just try to stay in my own lane and do my thing and just leave everybody alone. You know, I mean, I have my thoughts about certain things and other things that I don't talk about publicly, but you know, I just try to stay in my own lane and do my thing here. And anyway, how long we been on here? Almost 3 hours. Hey, we're doing good. So any last thoughts, questions, comments, whatever. So Wednesday, I think, unless something unforeseen comes up, I think Wednesday night, because I won't be able to do one Friday, this week Friday, you know, whatever I'm trying to say. I don't think I've recovered from the, what was it, 5 hours that we did Friday, almost 5 hours that we did Friday night. But that was fun. We needed a break. Anyway, focus. Wednesday, I'll probably try to do a true crime after dark, because I have come across some stories that are kind of in the news now, and then just some things that pop up on my Google newsfeed that I find interesting. Hopefully you guys will too. I want to talk a little bit about the Kurt Cobain thing. Now it's been talked about a lot lately. Dave talked about it Saturday night. Other channels and the news outlets have been talking about it. Because I have gone down many deep rabbit holes on the Kurt Cobain case. I have questions about it. I have questions and suspicions about it. But anyway, apparently some wannabe detective and some forensic some woman. Dave showed a video of it. Go watch Dave's live stream. Anyway, it's come back up, and they got a hold of some autopsy report, some parts of the autopsy report, and some photos that have not been released public. I have problems saying publicly. Anyway, so now that, you know, and they say that they found evidence that it wasn't self-harm, like has been, you know, the narrative given out, that it was a homicide. And like I said, I've been down ever since he passed away, whether it had been from self-harm or homicide. I've gone down many rabbit holes. I'm a Nirvana fan. Obviously, if you were here Friday, you know what kind of music I listen to. But anyway, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. What else? I found 4 or 5 articles, stuff that I want to talk about. About the the mom who the daughter was a cheerleader, and I think they were at a cheer, sometime in a cheer contest, and they ended up with the homicide self-harm thing. I want to talk a little bit about that. That's such a horrible, sad case. And just a couple of others. 40-year-old homicide, or a 40-year-old cold case, I think, I found that had been solved through genetic genealogy. Anyway, things of that nature, the usual true crime after dark stuff. Let me get thank you very much, Miss Farr. She says, thank you, Southern Gal, mods, and chat. Yes, thank you, chat. Thank you, mods. Special shout out to the mods, especially Mustang. She is so good at getting all the links in for me. Josh is always quick with the information. I don't know what I think he's some kind of covert operative, because he can find all this information that I can't find. No, it's more likely that I just suck at trying to find information. Anyway, thanks to if you're watching Replay Crew, thank you so much. Please leave a comment below. Let me know if you're a Replay Crew. Please leave your thoughts, questions, opinions on anything we talked about here tonight. Thank you, Miss Peggy. Says thank you, Dawn and Mods. Thank you, Miss Peggy. Thank you, Josh. As always, please once again do check out Josh. Do check out Miss Paula. All the other great creators that come in here. Thank you again, Mustang. It says good night. Great live in chat. Josh says thank you. Good night, everyone. Oh, thank you, Josh. Sent a $3 super sticker, so we get to put one more cow into pasture. Thank you so much, my fine, kind sir. You are awesome. Thank you, Miss Paula, for being here. As always, we love Miss Paula. Please do check out Miss Paula, our little ray of sunshine, our little firecracker. Yes, Josh is awesome. Awesome. Josh is awesome. That's what I was trying to say. No, he has a personal account. I don't know if he has because I have a personal account and what I call a Southern Gal account. Although I can't get into them right now because I got to figure out what I'm doing, what is going on with my Facebook app on my phone. Anyway. All right, I'm going to quit babbling now. But once again, thank you to everybody in chat, mods, Replay Crew. I love all of you guys. Once again, oh, geez. Once again, Dawn is pushing the wrong buttons. Once again, Mustang, thank you for the $5. Ms. Farr gifted 2 Southern Gal memberships. And Josh sent a $3 super sticker. Once again, everything goes right back into the channel. So I'm going to leave you with the new outro that I finally remembered to upload to StreamYard. So once again, thank you to everybody. Have a good, hopefully I'll see you Wednesday. Have a good week. Be safe, be kind. Stay warm. Once again, all our friends on the Northeast Coast, stay in, stay warm, stay safe while the yet another snowmageddon is going on. And hopefully, like I said, I will see you guys Wednesday.